Okay, picking up in science on Activity Manual 7, luster. We're at the very middle of our chart. And it is going to start with wanting us to get the definition. The luster of a mineral is the way that it reflects light, according to my book, page 13. So what am I going to put in the blank on the chart? Light. Emma, if you're finished, just put it on that desk there, and then you can get out your activity, just the desk beside you. All right, now, it says kinds of luster. You can have dull, you can have metallic. According to what we read on page 13, what else can we have? Two more. They're going to be italicized on page 13.
Metallic?
They gave us metallic. They gave us the first two. Dull, metallic. What's the third? Say again.
Brighten?
The last one is brilliant. Is that what you're looking at? So on the bottom blank, you'll put brilliant. Make sure you spell it correctly. It's going to be an italicized word in the last paragraph. Italicized is when it's that fancy print.
Pearl.
And the one that's missing is curly. Mason, next time please raise your hand, okay? Does everybody understand what to write in those two blanks? Are you on the luster, the first blank?
No.
After metallic was pearly, P-E-A-R-L-Y, and then the bottom one is brilliant. And make sure you spell it correctly. It's found on page 13. Who can remember what all of these are? Crystal structure, color, luster, hardness, cleavage, and fracture. What are those? What are we filling in? As review from yesterday. Abby?
Minerals?
It is. It's characteristics of minerals so that we can identify them. Because some of them look rather similar in their natural state. So we have to do some tests on them to see exactly what kind of mineral they are. All right, now let's go to the next column, and it says hardness. So I need to turn my book to page 14. Turn your book to page 14. And I want you to notice on the right half of page 14, it gives us something called the Mohs hardness scale. Mohs. Is everybody with me?
Yeah.
What is the softest material on the Mohs hardness scale? Talc. Who knows what talc is? Anybody? Sometimes we refer to it as talcum powder. What's talcum powder? Do you know, Mason?
Powder?
What kind of powder?
Powder?
It's a specific type of powder and it's super soft and silky in your fingers.
Dust.
It's baby powder. Anybody have baby powder at their house?
Yeah.
Baby powder comes from talc. That's an actual mineral in the earth, and it is the softest mineral in the earth. If you touch a rock of talc, I'm calling it a rock, but it's not really. If you touch a lump of talc, it's just going to rub off in your fingers, just like baby powder, and it's silky soft. Can you imagine that? So if I'm a scientist and I'm using my senses, I can see the lump of talc. I put it in my hands and I touch it. And it rubs soft and silky smooth between my fingers, just like baby powder. That's what talc is, because baby powder is made from talc. What's the hardest thing on the Mohs scale? Mason? The diamond. This material right here is the hardest in the world on the Mohs hardness scale. In fact, diamonds are used in drills. Diamonds are used in dental tools to drive into your teeth if you have a cavity. It has a diamond bit on their drill that enables them to grind down your tooth and get the cavity out. Oops, there's my erasers. They use diamond bits to cut glass. They use them in saw blades because they're so hard. So the hardest is diamond, the softest is talc, and look at what's in between. You see gypsum, calcite, calcite. Does that ring a bell? Where do you know of calcite?
Sand?
There might be calcite in sand, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure from this picture think I found it like laying in sand before.
It's a possibility. But calcite is similar material to calcium. And what's
Oh.
calcium? Calcium is the mineral.
Okay.
Calcium is what
Lipstick.
is no on our teeth to make them hard and white and shiny, right? Yeah. Fluorite. Anybody ever hear of a word like fluorite?
Yeah.
What?
Fluoride.
What is fluoride?
Please.
They use it in toothpaste to help me clean my teeth, and it also helps them with their hardness. 'Cause I need my teeth to do some pretty hard jobs, don't I?
Like this.
Yeah. I gotta be able to chew some stuff like steak,
Hamburger.
hamburgers.
Frying hot dogs.
Sometimes I bite into something that's hard.
Oh,
Like a crouton.
Yes. And that hurts. But my tooth doesn't break. At least it's not supposed to. Occasionally,
My
sister
sister got a chip tooth from.
it can happen if
I
you
had
fall.
from
My sister didn't fall.
My other sister just hit her.
All right, if I keep looking down the scale, I can see quartz, topaz, corundum. Those are getting harder as I get closer to diamond. Now, come back to page 7. Hardness refers to how easily a mineral resists what? For the definition.
Hardness.
Hardness refers to how easily a mineral resists
Scratch.
scratching. Good. Scratching goes in my first blank under hardness. Scratching. So what do I use to determine hardness?
Toothpaste.
No, according to page 14, what do I use to determine hardness? Let's see, yeah, it should be on that page. The last paragraph on page 14, the first sentence.
Scratch test.
A scratch test. So scratch test goes right here. Scratch test is used to determine hardness. So I have a streak test to determine the color, and I have a scratch test to determine the hardness. All right, next we're on cleavage and fracture. Cleavage, the definition,
Different materials.
refers to the way minerals blank break. Yes, the way minerals break. B-R-E-A-K. What term means that it occurs when a mineral breaks along smooth, straight lines or into flat sheets? Jackson. Cleavage. Sophia, would you get out your little bag of minerals and show us the piece of quartz that looks like a column? It's very straight.
Column.
It looks like a column. It's white, almost like a see-through white. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
me show this one here. This is what we're talking about with cleavage. It breaks along smooth, straight lines.
That's pretty.
So hold that and pass it around.
It's a crystal.
It is a crystal, and it's broken along smooth, straight lines, which means it has cleavage. What do we call it if it breaks unevenly? Unevenly. What do they call it? Look on page 15. If it breaks in a jagged way, what do they call it?
Fracture?
Fracture. All right, here's one that would be an example of fracture. Okay, I'm going to show this one. This one would be an example of fracture. It doesn't break evenly. So take that one and pass it around. Just like if you get a broken bone, you can have a smooth break, which would be cleavage, or you can have a fracture, which is an uneven break. A jagged edge in your bone.
I almost broke my arm. Get up like this.
We will have a quiz on this section on, I think it's Friday. Let me double check my notes to myself. Make sure I'm right. No, maybe it's not until next week.
Oh, we have a lot of time to study.
Oh yeah, it's not until next week. Never mind. That quiz will probably be either Tuesday or Wednesday next week. Yes.
Where it says quartz, I have a whole bag of those and I have a rose quartz.
Oh, I'm so glad that you have an actual one that you can show the class. This is awesome. So Sophia's going to have her rock samples, her mineral samples ready for you guys to look at.